Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Paps back again with another UFC video. Today, we're going over the top 5 attribute merchants in the UFC. Now, what do I mean by an attribute merchant? I'm classifying these as people who rely on their physical gifts more than their actual fighting skills. What physical gifts am I talking about? Their power, their durability, their cardio, their strength, and their size. Now, not all these guys are going to have every single one of these. You're going to see, some cases it's a big strength merchant, power merchant, or like a case as a big cardio merchant, or a big durability and cardio merchant. Not all these guys are going to have every single one of these attributes in their favor, but some of them are going to have a lot of them. Some of them have like one or two. And I'm only doing fighters who have actually had success at a high level. So everybody here, I'm pretty sure has fought for at least a title or has been a champion. So like you're not going to see somebody like Nate Diaz on here. And I think Nate Diaz is the perfect example of an attribute merchant. But I wanted to kind of, actually do people who actually had some success at a high level. So starting off at number 5, we're going 5-1. Number 1, best for last. Starting off at number 5, Marab. All right, hear me out though. I actually think Marab is a skilled fighter. That is a terrible photo I use. Look at the quality of that, and that's recent. Why is that such a low quality? Whatever. We'll move on. Whatever. Forget about it. You know it's Marab. You can't fucking forget what he looks like. But I actually think Marab's decently skilled. I think he has decent wrestling. He's got decent footwork. He's not bad, but he is extremely reliant on his cardio. That's no fucking, that's no secret. This guy's got the best cardio in UFC history, and that's without a doubt. This guy puts everybody else cardio to shame, man. This guy looks like he's the only one working out and running. Some things I got here. Shoots 20 plus takedowns a fight. I mean, that's just a stat, man. This guy's shooting 20 takedowns minimum, dog. Woeful striking, brother. I remember leading up to the Umar fight, everybody was saying how high level Umar's striking is, and Umar's gonna clear him in the striking. Brother, these goofballs, every time they got close to each other, ducking, just winging hooks and overhand, the most sloppy striking I've ever seen in a bantamweight title fight. Bantamweight is known for having such high level strikers. That might be the worst striking display ever in a bantamweight title fight. These fuckers were just ducking down, swinging hooks and overhands at each other every time they got anywhere near each other. Anytime they got in smelling range. Striking, not very good. That's an obvious one. I think guy hardly gets a third of the takedowns he shoots. This is where he starts relying on his ability to keep shooting and keep spamming and keep chain wrestling and keep going. Somebody who was notorious for doing this back in the day was Colby Covington. This guy puts Colby Covington to shame with the volume he puts out. I mean, look at the Peter Yan fight. The numbers he produced, I don't think we'll ever see something like that again. What did he shoot? 42 takedowns and threw 300 plus strikes. We will never see stats like that, I don't think, ever again in a UFC fight, unless it's from this fucker again. I don't know a fight that comes close to that outside of Max Holloway's, striking numbers he put on Calvin Kattar. But even then, he didn't have the 40-plus takedown attempts. Yet again, I think Marab's decent. He's not the biggest example of an attribute merchant, so that's why I have him number 5. I think all these other guys are a more glaring attribute merchant than Marab was. Let's go down to number 4. Francis Ngannou. We all knew he was going to be on this list, man. Come on, we all knew. But I'm specifically talking more about pre-patient Francis. This is like Stipe won Francis and before. There is a fight after. I do think he went back to relying on his sheer strength and size that he has. But if we look at his fights with people like Jairzinho, for example, we've all seen the little 30-second slow-mo clip of Jairzinho countering and clipping Francis about 4 times in one sequence, and Francis just running at him with hooks, and eventually finally closes the gap after he's been countered 4 times and one taps him. Jairzinho did everything perfectly just to still get one bang by this guy because he's so fucking powerful. This guy lands a jab on you, you're seeing stars, man. I mean, quite literally, he dropped Stipe in the second fight with a jab. I mean, that was where the first drop came from. The Overeem, I mean, this guy lifted Overeem off his fucking feet nearly with the uppercut. The Curtis Blades fights, I mean, he just went ape shit. The second he even dude. If he ever smells blood in the water, him and Tom Aspinall are some of the best fighters. When they have you hurt, it's over, bro. You might as well just curl up in a ball, tap out. They're gonna get you up out of there, man. But moving on, couldn't land a glove on Gain, so resorted to body slamming. This is post pre-patient Francis. where I think he stopped relying so much on his attributes and actually tried to learn how to strike a little bit and pace himself more and actually try to find and create moments. He started throwing more leg kicks. He was throwing in some head kicks against Stipe. Showed really good improved grappling in the second Stipe fight as well. Reverse takedown Stipe and actually landed good ground and pound. He actually showed good improvements. Pre-patient era. But we get to the Gane fight. And Gane is just, I mean, it looks like it's going to be a blowout. We're 2 rounds in. I don't know if Francis has landed 3 punches on Gane. I'm not bullshitting. Gane was hitting this guy with a kickboxing masterclass. So you know what he did? He just resorted to body slamming the fucker because he can. He's just that fucking strong. He's that powerful. He just resorted to picking him up, throwing him on the floor, laying on him. I do think he actually developed a lot of skills post the first Stipe fight, but he did turn back around and become a little bit of an attribute merchant in the game fight, in my opinion. Pre-patient Francis, purely an attribute merchant, just swinging and banging, didn't give a fuck. He was also, I still think he's extremely durable, man. This guy has a granite chin. The combos he was eating off of Stipe in their first fight, bro, this guy was eating like 4 pieces while completely gassing the first round, still trying to swing hooks. This guy had a granite chin in his own. We also saw that in the Jairzinho sequence, man. Jairzinho counted him 4 times in that sequence. Bro didn't give a fuck. Just kept walking forward. I know he got smoked by Anthony Joshua, but that's a completely different sport. That's whatever. But I got Francis number 4. I think if he would have kept fighting the way he fought pre-patient, he'd be higher up on this list. But he did actually change and develop some skills later on in his career and actually become a well-rounded heavyweight. So that's why I only got him in number 4. Number 3, Brock Lesnar. Now, I know he doesn't fight anymore, and I know he's retired, and it's more of like an old head pick, but this guy is the OG. Just, I'm fucking bigger, stronger, powerful, taller. This guy's the OG Francis, but in a wrestling form, man. I'm telling you, man. This guy would just full-on linebacker, spear, tackle dudes, man. This guy's takedowns, it was either he'd spear you, or he would get in a chest-to-chest, reach down, grab your leg, and basically push you to the floor. This guy's takedowns had not the greatest technique. It was pure strength and size abuse. He was going in on you. Horrendous footwork in boxing. I love watching Brock fight when he's actually sitting there trying to go in and out with the boxing. He looks like a dumbass, man. He's like playing fucking hopscotch. It's the dumbest looking shit I've ever seen. And his boxing, terrible, man. Boxing defense, terrible. Kane exposed his boxing bad, man. Busting him up to the guard, uppercuts, hook, terrible. And we saw when he tried to go fucking Hulk smash mode on fucking Kane, who's actually skilled heavyweight, and just try to just completely attribute merchant him, just take him down at will and try to slam him. 2 seconds into the fight, he literally sprinted at him. We saw that didn't work. He's also an infamous steroid cheat. I don't think that plays into, him just maxing out his fucking stats, dude, in strength and just power. He's just full on steroid maxing, trying to fucking max out his attributes even more. This guy is the OG attribute merchant wrestler, dog. And he's extremely strong and powerful. I love watching the second fight with his second fight with fucking Frank Mir. Dog, I remember when Frank Mir dropped for the heel hook. This guy literally started one hand holding down Frank Mir to the canvas because he just was able to. He's that fucking strong. He's literally one hand holding Frank Mir down by his chest to the canvas, man. I remember after that fight, I recently found out from a friend while making this video that after that fight, that's what caused Frank Mir to bulk up and realize he needed to get stronger. And Frank Mir wasn't no small. He was jacked. But after he fought Brock and was getting held down like a little kid and getting pushed to the floor with one hand, he realized he needed to add some more muscle onto him, man, because Brock just attribute fucked him. I was going to think about putting Brock higher up on this list and swapping him out with second place, but he didn't have a long UFC stint. So that's why I have him. Only if he would have competed more in UFC, I think we would have seen more crazy moments of him just abusing his size and strength. But he wasn't in the UFC that long, so I only got him at number 3. Now, number 2, I get a lot of different looks when I say Cheeto's an attribute merchant, and I don't know why. This guy is a literal punching bag for almost every fight he's in. Who's a guy he's actually... We'll get into that. This guy's losing almost every fight he ever has until he lands a big shot. For example, old man Frank Yeager drops down the bantamweight and he's putting on a masterclass on Cheeto for 2 rounds. Bro was getting out MMA'd by old man Frankie. Now, I know Frankie ain't no slouch, former world champion. I know that, man. But it's old man Frankie, dog. The fucker was nearly 40 fighting Cheeto, man. I could be wrong about that age, to be fair, but I'm pretty sure the fucker was 37 at least. Down 2 rounds, Frankie front kicks him. Beautiful KO. He has an ability to find these shots, man, when he's down. He just does. That is something he's good at. But it's a common theme in a lot of his fights where he's always losing. Every fight, he's just losing until he's not. Dominic Cruz, yet again, old man Cruz, was busting Cheeto up. Landing combos at will, leg kicking him in and out. Cheeto couldn't hit him. And then all of a sudden, he lands a jab. Cruz is on his fucking ass. Like, oh my God, bro. And then, don't get me wrong. That head kick at the end, beautiful. Beautiful head kick. But the fucker was getting styled on, man. I can't lie, dog. The fucker landed nearly 20 punches in 4 rounds. Bro, he was getting styled on. And this is by an older, out of his prime Cruz, man, and Cheeto. And there's like an obvious skill discrepancy. Did he get the finish? Yeah, man. That's just what he does. He's losing every fight until he's not. Rob Font. This is the fight that made me want to make this video. I remember seeing this fight back in the day, and this is the fight I always think about when I think somebody being an attribute merchant. You can look at the stats on this fight, and you would see Rob Font, attempting 400, 500 strikes, landing 200. And you'd be like, how the fuck did Cheeto win this fight? And then you see the photos of the aftermath, dude. Looks like Rob Font got hit with 5 machetes while Cheeto just woke up out of bed. Like, he wasn't the one who just ate 200 plus strikes. This guy literally would just sit there, get hit with a 4-piece, shell up, crank a jab, or throw a hook kick and drop Font, man. We all know Font ain't known for his durability. Even though he's never been TKO or KO'd ever, he's notorious for having a terrible chin, which I think is kind of funny. He's never actually been TKO'd or KO'd, but everybody knows he has a horrendous chin. But that's one of the perfect examples of there was a obvious skill discrepancy when it came to the striking, but yet he was just able to just land a good shot here and there and put Font down, even though he was getting hit with 20 pieces, dog. He is a very powerful, durable guy, and he uses that a lot in his fights. And, his fight with Brad Pickett, a lot of people forget about this one. He was down 2 rounds, yet again, down, and then he comes back and wins with 1 minute left. This guy is he does it so often to where he's just down the whole entire fight until he just finds one moment. Even Brad Pickett was putting up, I won't say masterclass, but it was obviously Brad Pickett was winning. And then Cheeto gets a last minute comeback win victory. He does it a lot, man. I think he's a huge attribute. I think he leans heavily on his durability, heavily. And we see when he actually fights good comp, who he can't just sit here and just lean on his pure durability and power to just get him up out of there. The O'Malley rematch, I don't count the first one that much, man. I think O'Malley proved that was a bit of a fluke and how bad he did him in their second fight. Figgy finally put, that fucker got some serious. Figgy put him down, pretty much schooled him for most fights. Cheeto didn't do much of anything that fight until the 3rd round. Yet again, tried to come back again in the last round after getting beat for the first 2, man. That's all he does, man. I'm telling you, dude. He just doesn't do anything, man. He's a punching bag for 85% of every fight he's in. The Corey Sandhagen, that was a blowout. I had that 49-46 only round I gave to Cheeto was the last round, even though that was a split by some corrupt judging. Whatever. Don't care. That was a blowout from Sandhagen. Aldo dominated him with the grappling. This guy, when he fights good comp, he tends to kind of get styled on, man. And the only time he ever beats good comp, he was still getting styled on. He just landed a big shot and got him up out of there. Frankie, Cruz, Pickett, even the Font fight, man. Font was world starring this boy. I feel like I've made my point. I've had people say he's not an attribute merchant. I'd like you to show me a fight he was winning the whole entire time and actually won via skills. I can't find one, man. You're gonna tell me Pedro Munoz, who's also a blockhead fucking attribute merchant, relies on his durability as well. Just 2 fucking bozos going at it in that fight, and he came out he's just a less shitty fighter, I guess. I'd love for somebody to point out a fight for me of Cheetos where he's just actually showing a lot of fucking skills and beating some decent comp, man. I ain't seen it, man. I ain't seen it. Going on to number 1. You already seen the thumbnail. You already know who it's it. You already know who it is, man. Tony Ferguson, man. Tony El Kukui Ferguson. Now, this guy is the prime attribute merchant. Insane durability. Insane pace and cardio. I will give him his credit, though. Not just because I'm calling you guys attribute merchants doesn't mean I'm saying they don't have any skills whatsoever. They're UFC caliber. They fought for titles. I try to keep people who've actually had success and have had good wins in their career on here. These guys, they have good skills. Like Tony Ferguson, good submissions, good jits, man. He was good in his prime. The elbows were nasty. The jab was nice, even though he threw that shit looking at the sky. It was a nasty jab, dropped a couple people with it. It was a powerful, nice little sharp jab. Busted everybody up, busted everybody open up with the elbows, subbed hella dudes. But man, I'd be lying if I didn't say this motherfucker got his ass whooped multiple times during his win streak, and only won because of his durability and his ability to just keep going. We're gonna look at people like the Anthony Pettis fight. Anthony Pettis literally broke his fucking hand on this guy, dude, and had to quit on the stool. Pettis was beating the fuck out of Tony, and so Pettis broke his hand, started slowing down and gassed out. And Tony does what Tony does, man. Just keeps going at 100%, putting it on you, sticking it on you. No matter if you drop him, no matter if you're taking him down every 30 seconds, no matter if you're ground and pounding the fuck out of him, he just gets up and comes right back at you at 100%, cranking elbows, popping the jab, throwing sand at your fucking face. Another one, Lando Venata, came in on short notice, his debut, and destroyed Tony. Was destroying him, dropping him, was beating the fuck, outclassing him, showed a obvious skill discrepancy. Lando starts slowing down, and guess what? Here comes Tony, still at 100%, busting you up, cranking the jab, spinning elbows, busting him up, gets him up at, it's this guy, I don't know. It's like, what could you do to him in his prime? And you hit him with everything, and he's still in your fucking face, walking you down, man. This guy, Abel Trujillo. A lot of people don't even remember this fight or look at. Abel dropped in the first round, was taking him down, was ground and pounding the shit out of him, landing big shots on the feet. Abel gassed out in one round, putting it on Tony, and Tony just comes back the next round, 100%, beats his ass. Like, bro, what do you got to do to this guy to get him up out of there, man? This guy is probably the biggest attribute merchant I've ever seen when it comes to just relying on his ability to take damage and just keep going. And as he got older, and the older you get, the less those attributes are there for you, man. We see that. When the older fighter gets, they can't take shots as good. They're not as quick as they used to be. The cardio drops off a little bit. And we saw that with Tony. I know a lot had to do with that Gaethje beatdown, man. That took a lot out of him. But I also think a lot of it had to do with he's getting older, man. I think he's 35, 36 when he lost to Gaethje, man. That's getting up there for a lightweight. And we saw once he started aging a little bit, the durability went away. The cardio wasn't there anymore. The speed, the reflexes, all that shit went away, man. He turned into just a punching bag, and it's sad to see him even in that octagon. I know a lot of people love Tony. I never understood how he has such a big fan base. I think he's kind of weird. I never liked him too much. I never liked his personality much. But he had an amazing win streak in his prime, had some really good wins. But I think a few of those came off the back of him just purely leaning on his durability and pace. That's my video, though. Let me know what y'all think, man. I know I'm probably going to get some hate on the Tony pick, but is what it is, man. He's an entertaining fighter. I've watched all of his fights. Love Tony as a fighter. Amazing guy. Entertaining as hell. But that's going to be me, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day.